Greetings and salutations. Good afternoon and welcome to our final reconvened draft for the 24-34 long-term council plan meeting. I've got an apology from Councillor Harrison Hunt, and I note that Councillor Johansson is on Zoom. I'll now hand over to staff and Audit New Zealand to provide an update. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. Look, just a quick retrace of history here. You're aware that you provisionally adopted the draft LTP on the 14th of February. The meeting was then adjourned in order to receive the audit review. That's now been received, and of course Chantel will introduce that in a moment. And that will be followed by if all is well, the adoption of the review and the LTP for consultation. Consultation is set down from the 18th of March, so only 4 days away, through to the 21st of April. Unless there are any process questions, I'll refer now to Audit New Zealand.
Thank you, Peter.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Oh.
So we have reviewed your consultation document and we've issued a draft opinion in terms of where we believe we stand. So currently, should we receive your signed letter of representation, we are, in our opinion, stating that the consultation document fairly represents the matters proposed and identifies and explains the main issues, and that information and assumptions underlying the information in the consultation document are reasonable. We do have an emphasis of matter which has been included for the transport program, in which we are emphasising that should the indicated funding required not eventuate, it would mean that the council has to consider other options. Obviously that funding is subject to high uncertainty, and therefore that's why that emphasis of matter is included. And that's it from our end.
Hey, thank you very much for your guidance and advice. It's very much appreciated. Now, I don't imagine there is any, but are there any questions on what we've just heard up to date today? Great, thank you. Okay, now we're up to, we have previously considered and debated the draft LTP underlying information, technical documents, and the consultation document, and resolved a number of matters, including recommendations 1 to 8, which everyone has copies of. As signalled on Monday, this is to formally adopt the underlying information supporting documents and the consultation document, having received the audit opinion, which we just got now. To do that, we need to deal with the remaining recommendations 9 to 11, which you can see on your screen. Before we do that, the recommendation 11 requires an alteration to the previously resolved consultation dates and process, which requires 75% of those present to agree. Can I please have a show of hands that we all agree? Brilliant. Thank you. Got them all, the whole lot.
Great.
You all happy? Yep.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't see Yanni. Did you see Yanni?
Yanni's got his hand up.
Oh,
yep.
good.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. I will now move, and the Deputy Mayor will second, I assume, yes, for recommendations 9 through 11. The public has heard our views, and I expect they do not want us to repeat ourselves. Are people happy to put this to the vote? Well, I am happy, so I'll put it to the vote. Any?
Sorry, can I just ask a question?
Certainly, Councillor Johansson.
Yeah, thank you. I just emailed ahead of the meeting, but if we're concerned about the short time frame for consultation, what's the best way to move a resolution to extend it to the 1st of May? I'm just concerned because Easter's in the middle of that very limited time frame, and so effectively it's about 3 working weeks.
So we have a very tight time frame, and we don't believe we can actually logistically do this. But I'll ask Lynn to walk through the time frame and identify.
So unfortunately, we are not in a position to be able to change the time frame. What is required is once submissions are received, they need to be coded, they need to be analysed, and staff advice is to be provided to members before you're able to reach a final conclusion. We're anticipating there will be potentially a larger than normal number of submissions due to the range of opinion and the fact that we're very grateful that councillors have done this, have stimulated interest in the community to put in submissions. If we are to meet the time frame to strike a rate, we're not really in a position at all to change the proposed time frame, which will already require staff to work 3 or 4 weekends in a row in order to meet the needs to provide advice to you.
Thank you, Lynn. Great answer.
So just to clarify, if we're going into hearings after we receive the submissions, at what date do we finish hearing from the community in terms of the hearings?
So at the moment, we haven't fully scheduled all of the hearings. That will be dependent on the number of people who wish to be heard. At the moment, the hearings are scheduled to start in the first week of May. During the course...
Right. So, oh, yeah.
During the course,
during the course, so once we're able to assess the number of submissions, during the recess week, we will be scheduling hearings, and they will start as soon as possible after councillors return following the recess week. As to the actual number and nature of hearings, that will be very much dependent on the number of submissions.
So if we, just for example, if we put the cutoff to the 21st of April for those who wish to be heard, but extended the ability for people to make written submissions until the end of the verbal hearing date, what would be the difference in terms of staff workload and ability to process that? Because we're still in the process of hearing from the community, and would that give us a chance to hear from people with a slightly longer time frame for written?
So hang on. Before you go any further, are you going to put a resolution up to that, Councillor Johansson, or not?
Well, I'd like to move something. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So extend the consultation period.
Can we just answer
submission?
the question that that wouldn't be possible because staff are going to be starting to analyse the submissions and providing advice, and we'll have to run things right from the cut-off date. It's not a matter of only hearings. We've got an analysis in the background running parallel with the hearings. Is that? Do you want to confirm?
There's probably just a little more to round that out. We've been talking about submissions, analysis and hearings. There are also the briefings that we need to supply to you for the final. They need to be sufficiently spaced so that we can answer your questions. We've all suffered from the phenomenon of briefings after 48 hours and 48 hours and 48 hours. There's also Councillor McDonald's request around the resident survey, which the council has endorsed, that we need to look at what that means. There's also the ARMC and the audit process. I spoke to audit before the meeting, that they're clear that they will be auditing the final document as well. So there's, and the report must be, of course, provided and adopted, and the final documents prepared. It's not as simple as submissions or hearings.
Okay, I think we're hearing from just about everyone that knows what they're talking about that we can't extend the time, so great. Okay, so with that, I will put, sorry, Councillor Keon.
Yeah, one more question, because it's been raised multiple times by Councillor Moore, is, and I support him on this the whole way through, is the dot charts that we did upstairs on how we could save money. Is that being made publicly available so people can submit on some of the stuff we chose not to make savings on, because the rates rise is going to hurt some people and they need options to submit on? Is that being made public? Because it's not in the document now, is it?
No, it's not in the consultation document, and we'd be too late to add it to the consultation document because that would need to go back to audit, to be re-audited, and that would take some time to get. That's correct, isn't it? isn't it? Sure. Yeah. So we can't add it to the consultation.
Councillor Moore
document.
did ask many times for it. Can it at least be in some sort of online place where the public can see it? If they, some people don't care, they're not going to ask for savings, but some are, and they need to know where to look or what to be asking about.
Lynn, you've previously answered this for council.
So what we have done is built into the consultation document an opportunity to provide feedback from the community. So that's in the sense of services they particularly value, services they believe they could potentially do without, and where there may be efficiencies or savings. So that is the opportunity for the community to come back. In terms of the specifics of the options considered by councillors, they were only preliminary options, and councillors indicated whether they wanted them to be pursued or not. As a result of that indication, many of them were not pursued, so they are not developed to the point where we have adequate advice that is audited that can be included in the consultation document.
Fully understand it won't be in the consultation document, but I think the public need to be able to get their eyes over what was suggested to us, even if we don't accept them. But, you know, because there was stuff come up that was brought up by staff that I thought was really good.
I'm not sure, and I might refer to Lynn in Audit New Zealand that if we post these up as underlying documents for consultation, they would need to be audited. Is that correct? Yeah. So
Because we've run it right to the wire. We have no more time.
Okay, so then can I do an OIA and release it publicly, that material, so the public have an idea on what to submit on? There were some great savings ideas there that even councillors don't think of. Staff put a lot of thought into it, and it should be shared with the public. Is there some way to do it publicly? That's all.
You could go out to your communities and do it yourself. I mean, you know.
Okay, well I will, but I'll be making it up if I haven't got what was on the list upstairs.
So one of the things that we identified for you when we circulated the document is that there are a number of matters which are commercially sensitive. A number of matters have specific impacts on staff, and therefore it is really important that we have an appropriate framework within which those ideas are considered. Otherwise, we may trigger some challenging circumstances in terms of personal grievances. So it's very important that if material is provided to the public, that it is substantiated, that it is audited, and that they have an adequate basis on which to make submissions.
Okay, thank you. Melanie? No, Melanie's good. Right. With Councillor Johansson, you got another question, or you've got your hand up?
Just one final question on the consultation document. And this is similar to the previous councillor's question, but there's no reference to transport choices or CRAF in the consultation document about those projects being deferred. And while there's general comment about central government funding, there's nothing that calls out that those projects are actually not happening or are being delayed or are over budget. So I'm just trying to understand how the community can make submissions around projects they think are happening when we don't highlight that they're not specifically. So is there a reason that we don't mention transport choices and CRAF? And like this has been raised repeatedly through this process as well, but I'm still seeing nothing in the document that references those projects.
So can reiterate again, it is too late to add those to the consultation document because the consultation document would need to be re-audited, and then we wouldn't.
We just have not got time.
My understanding is they are not, the CRAF projects are not projects that are budgeted in the lifespan of the LTP. They are in the current year's budget.
Okay.
So,
Right.
So for example, I pointed out last meeting that in the program that we're cutting some of the CRAF budget, we're certainly putting it into further years as well. And we've obviously made some decisions about transport choices at F&P. But basically it's too late to change anything, and we just need to take that separately.
Absolutely. Yep. Thank you for that. Okay, so I will put that motion. All those in favour? Against? Absolutely good. That is carried. Thank you very much. Right. I will now close the meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you in a couple of months.
Can I just, we'll do this signing. Can I just, before we close, I want to acknowledge Lynn and the whole LTP team, the councillors and all the heads and service people for the work of getting us this line, and also friends up from Christchurch NZ, sorry, from Audit New Zealand. And those ones at Christchurch NZ as well. But Audit New Zealand.
And you too,
Thank you
Mary.
very
You need
much.
to be acknowledged
Thank
for
you.
inheriting this and doing a great job.
Yes.